The IDF says its troops are in the heart of Gaza City. President Biden says he asked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a 3-day fighting pause, which Biden says could help secure the release of hostages.
Our senior correspondent John Huddy was just embedded with the IDF troops in Gaza City and has an inside look of what's actually happening there. John, a busy day, a busy evening. Just take us through everything that you've seen.
Well, Bob and Katrina, I was one of four journalists, myself and 3 others, that were invited and embedded with IDF Special Forces. We crossed into Gaza. We went along the same route that Hamas terrorists crossed into Israel on October 7th, except this time we were going the other way, and we were taken to southeast Gaza City. This is the first time that journalists, including myself, the only U.S.-based journalist that was part of this embed, were taken into Gaza City since this war started, as the IDF continues to push into Gaza City, Hamas's stronghold in Gaza. We were also taken to the humanitarian corridor, where thousands of men, women, and children, people are heading from the north to the south. Here is what we saw. Behind me is Saladin Road. This is the main road that connects the northern part of Gaza from the south. And I have to stay low because there's the concern about sniper fire as the troops are looking through their scopes. But in the distance, I'm seeing families, men, women, children carrying knapsacks. I see women holding babies. And I see just an incredible amount of destruction. We're surrounded by IDF forces here.
אם יש פה ישראלים או דוברי עברית בשיירה, לא לפחד לרוץ אלינו. Hostages, run toward the soldiers. Don't be afraid.
Exactly what the IDF is trying to do, to separate this population, the civilians, from Hamas terrorists doing their acts of terror inside the neighborhoods, inside the buildings over here.
You can smell the smoke. You can smell the death. I've smelled that before, and you know it when you smell it. As the D9s are pushing in, we're kind of told we gotta hustle, gotta move quick. Just stopped the APC because there's a firefight breaking out. So we needed to get out of that APC so that the troops could move in. Very significant amount of machine gun fire.
We are on the ruins of a neighborhood that we've seen here. A lot of infrastructures of Hamas terrorists. What we are seeing behind us, behind this bridge over there, is a tunnel. It's a route of a tunnel. We won't be able to go over there because right now the engineer corps are investigating the tunnels over there. But inside the tunnel, inside the neighborhood, we've seen tunnels, we've seen rocket launchers, we've seen a lot of weapons in this place, and most of this place actually destroyed by the airstrikes, of course, because there was Hamas targets.
They told we gotta go. This is definitely the front line of battle. There's a fierce firefight happening right now. So we gotta get out of here. That's good enough. Let's go. And the IDF told us as we were crossing back into Israel that there was a special operation a major operation involving several battalions taking out yet another Hamas stronghold, and that's what we were seeing. That's what we were hearing. Initially, we were going to see some of those tunnels, but a firefight broke out. There was incoming artillery, and it just became too dangerous for us. So that's when the decision was made to get us back into the APCs and to cross back into Israel, Bob and Katrina.
John, we saw in the videotape some civilians, and we saw some of the IDF speaking to them. Tell us a little bit more about what the IDF was doing there. It sounds like they were trying to help them.
So they were, and this is important, and I'm glad you asked that question. So he was calling out in Hebrew, in Arabic, and then in English for any hostages, for any Jewish or any foreign national hostages that may have been mixed in that crowd, to come to the soldiers, to break out of the crowd and to run to the soldiers, and that they would not be harmed. Unfortunately, we didn't see that happen while we were there, as the IDF is not only going after Hamas, pushing in deeper to Gaza City, taking out the infrastructure, taking out the terror tunnels, but also looking for all of those hostages, 241 hostages. So this continues to be a major operation. Just today, the IDF located and took out, I believe, more than 150 terror tunnels, and basically going after the infrastructure, the command and control centers, the rocket launch sites. And one of the big challenges, along with getting all those people out of the northern part of Gaza, and then, as we're seeing Gaza City, to have them cross Wadi Gaza, the Gaza River, going south to the southern part of Gaza and the Rafah crossing, is working around those civilians and then taking out the Hamas structures and infrastructure in which Hamas is using to ambush those forces, coming out of those terror tunnels, firing RPGs, firing mortars, firing rockets at those forces. And then, of course, as we saw actually before we even went into Gaza, before we hooked up with the IDF, as part of this embed, there were a number of rockets that were launched from Gaza at Israel, including some of the areas we were. We were at a checkpoint. I didn't show you this video, but we all had to get down because we had about 8 seconds or less to hit the ground as rockets were being fired at Israel. Guys.
John, one more question here. In that video, it's incredible. You see all those buildings that are badly damaged or destroyed, but then the IDF, they have to go through there on foot, correct? And then check each and every one of them to make sure there's not hostages, to make sure there's not Hamas in there, to make sure there's not rocket launchers or booby traps. That's the task they're up against, correct?
Yeah, it's incredibly dangerous. And look, I was in Gaza City back in 2014. In fact, I went all through Gaza during Operation Protective Edge, and then after, a year later, when I went back to see Gaza. And so these areas, Sajaya, exactly where I was, there was a lot of destruction then, but not like this. And not only clearing Gaza City, which is so dense, and going through those buildings, which are booby-trapped, which are mined, and also trying to clear the civilians. And by the way, the IDF has worked very hard, dropping almost 2 million leaflets, making more than, I think, 20,000 phone calls, 4 million, or say, just an incredible amount of WhatsApp messages warning people to get out of northern Gaza, to get away from the battlefield and Hamas's stronghold, which is Gaza City. So they've been making an effort. And by the way, a big thank you and a special thank you to the IDF for allowing us to be part of this, for keeping us safe, and for getting us in there before that corridor closed, because we had very limited time to cross over and get there to see people in that corridor. They wanted to show us that, and despite trying to get civilians out of there, you heard the fighting. You heard the ongoing fighting as Hamas has been using those people as human shields. So not only clearing the very densely populated Gaza City, but just throughout that region, that no man's land when you go from the border, from Israel, and you cross over, and the barren fields, and it's a wasteland getting through there, because that's where so much of the terror infrastructure is. It's incredibly dangerous, it's incredibly perilous, and it's a very, very difficult process and ordeal. But we got to see some of that today, as again, we were the first journalists to go in, to be embedded with the IDF, and to actually get in to Gaza City since this war started. You guys, back to you.
All right, John Huddy, thanks so much. And again, a reminder, John Huddy, one of, I believe, John, you said 3 journalists who were actually allowed to accompany and embed with the IDF to go into Gaza. And so this is exclusive footage, again, here right at Newsmax. fourth one. Okay.
Myself and three others. I was the only U.S.-based journalist.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And again, thanks for bringing us this exclusive footage. Again, you can only see it on Newsmax. John Huddy, stay safe, and thanks so much for your reporting.